I'd like to call this meeting to order. We're running a little late, it's 3:35. Mr. Bob Jones, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody to this month's monthly meeting. Pam, is there anybody signed up to speak?
I do not have any forms here.
Okay. So moving right along, we're going to go down to, can you call the roll, please?
Call for roll.
Make sure that records show that all the trustees are present at this meeting for this month.
Okay. Item 1.4, approval of minutes. Have minutes of the Facilities and Finance of November 19th, the regular meetings of January 24th and February 25th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions?
Any
Mr.
questions?
Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Nahara?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Item 1.7, presentations by individuals, groups, and organizations. Item 1.7.1, Dr. William Sarata will recognize individuals who have retired from the college district.
Judge Haggerty, members of the board, we have two acknowledgements of folks that are retiring from the institution. I'm going to call on the family of Officer Lorenzo Colon to please join me at the podium. This, unfortunately, is a posthumous retirement. Officer Colon was scheduled to retire at this moment. Ladies, come on up. Thank you so much. Born and raised in Fabens, Texas, Lorenzo Colon was a police officer for the past 28 years at El Paso Community College. He held a Master Peace Officer certification. Officer Colon graduated from Fabens High School and started his career as a night watch for the city of Socorro. In 1991, he became a security officer with El Paso Community College. From there, he attended EPCC College Law Enforcement Training Academy and became a Texas Peace Officer in 1994. He worked at all of our campuses, and his last assignment was at the Northwest Campus. Officer Colon was inspired to join the EPCC Police Department in order to protect and serve his community. His service to the community extended beyond his police work, as he was active in several outreach programs and organizations, such as the Cleat Officers Association and the Knights of Columbus. He assisted in UIL events and sought to help other students understand the true mission of a police force. In his retirement letter, Officer Colon writes, "It has been a remarkable experience to have worked for El Paso Community College and especially the police department. After a long and courageous battle with cancer, Officer Colon passed away on March 8, 2019. Officer Colon, Lorenzo Colon, a brother in blue, you will be greatly missed. Officer Colon is survived by his wife, 2 sons, and 3 daughters. Present today are his sons Lorenzo Colon Jr. and Alejandro Colon, as well as his daughters Claudia Estrada, Marina Isabel Avila, and Selena Colon. Our thanks to Officer Colon, and it is our honor to present this to the family in exemplary service of 29 years to El Paso Community College. Thank you for sharing him with us. If Mr. Robert Bob Jones could join me.
Oh, I didn't know he was retired.
Bob Jones serves as Director of Distance Learning Support Services.
No way.
Bob Jones came to El Paso in 1978 as an Army second lieutenant, and after many years of service, retired and made El Paso home. He worked as a financial planner and left the industry to start a computer business in 1991. Mr. Jones was teaching part-time psychology courses at El Paso Community College when he applied for the technical coordinator position, 5-year Title III grant project, and was hired. When the grant finished, he planned to return to his business, but instead sold it and stayed at EPCC, much to our good fortune. In October 1999, he was appointed Interim Director of Instructional Support Services, and in 2005 was appointed the Director of Distance Education Department, now named Distance Learning Support Services. Mr. Jones' teaching and technical experience helped plan, design, and implement the technology for the Distance Education Network, a countywide video conferencing network that connected every EPCC campus, Region 19, and the University of Texas at El Paso. As the implementation progressed, the network was able to connect to video conferencing networks in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. In the year 2000, Mr. Jones was an integral part of the team that helped EPCC begin offering online courses, which became extremely popular and continues to be one of the fastest segments of enrollment at the institution, with faculty, staff, and students. In a few years, online course enrollments and sections had grown so quickly that it became necessary to create a new distance education department. The department's name has changed over the years, and the mission has evolved as technology and distance learning delivery methods have changed, but Mr. Jones's focus has always been on supporting faculty and students. To quote Mr. Jones, "The best part of working at EPCC is the people. It has been fantastic helping students meet their educational goals, working with great faculty, outstanding staff, and excellent administrators." He feels privileged to have worked with every division in the college and most of the staff at the college. Not most of the staff that he enjoyed, most of the staff at the college. After retirement, Mr. Jones plans to work with nonprofit organizations and assist them to obtain access to free and low-cost technology and services to improve outreach and communications. He also plans to spend more time with his beautiful wife, Beth, and family, take the family dog on long walks, stay active with church activities, enjoy riding his motorcycles, improve his guitar playing, and catch up on his reading list. Mr. Jones, thank you so much for 25 years of exemplary service to the college.
This is the best I can do.
Item 1.7.2, optional presentations will be made by the presidents of the Classified Staff Association, the Professional Staff Association, the Faculty Association, and the Student Government Association.
Good afternoon to our board members, President Serrata, staff, and guests. My name is Laura Gaither, and I'm president for classified staff. First, I wanted to thank Olga Chavez for letting us, Classified Staff Council, participate with the diversity program in the Diamond Award Luncheon, and congratulate all our honorees on March 15th. Second, I would like to thank my Classified Staff Council, who volunteered for this event, who are here. Third, we would like to congratulate our two remarkable classified staff members that will be receiving the Employee of the Year Award on May 3rd. Our full-time Employee of the Year is Ana Resendez, Administrative Associate for Faculty Development Department. And Gloria Contreras, who is our part-timer Accounting Clerk. 3 works for Accounting Services Department. And last but not least, thank you, Alex Hernandez, our liaison for Classified Staff Association, for getting the committee together and completing the very hard task of choosing our Employee of the Year. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Beautiful day, esteemed board members, Dr. Serrata, attendees. Last month, we mentioned that we were working on 2 projects. The first project was to elect our 2019 PSA Employee of the Year, and the second was to award 6 student scholarships. And I'm happy to report that both tasks were accomplished. Today, we would like to advise the PSA membership has selected its Employee of the Year, and I'm very proud to announce that this person is Ms. Mari Reyes, Human Resources Development Specialist. She's our newly elected 2019 PSA Employee of the Year. Our second project included a review of student applications, and this was quite an experience for the PSA Scholarship Committee. And we were able to read the students' personal goals, experiences, as well as their challenges. And this committee is happy to announce that 6 EPCC students were selected, and they will be awarded $300 scholarship each this semester. Special thanks to Lupe Bárcenas and to John Aguirre from the Financial Aid Office for helping us navigate through their scholarship process. Also, PSA was happy to participate in this year's diversity program Diamond Award Luncheon. There were 50 women that were recognized, and 10 of them were PSA members. A special thanks to Olga Chavez for including professional staff in this year's event. And we're grateful for your all support of PSA efforts. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. I hope everybody enjoyed their spring break at a tropical paradise like Cancun or El Paso. On April 4th, SGA will be attending the Texas Junior College Student Government Association Annual Convention in Dallas, Texas. Our goal is to win sweepstakes by submitting in every competition category. We are also going to be running for Region 1 President, which is a regional position, and my senator, Mr. Jaime Villarreal, is going to be running for that position, so hopefully we win. Also, student government has been discussing the prospect of establishing a soccer team, and we fully understand that this would cost money, specifically tuition money. We wholeheartedly believe that soccer team would bolster enrollment and improve our student engagement culture. We want to take it to the students and ask them if they want a soccer team, knowing full well that it would mean increasing tuition. And of course, we will also make sure to work with Mr. Felix Hinojosa, the athletic director, but we have decided to get serious about discussing the possibility of having a soccer team here at EPCC. So tune in for that. We also started our series of trustee debates. Last Monday, we hosted the debate for the District 4 race, and I'd like to sincerely thank Trustee Sanchez for attending.
Thank you for having me.
So the next 2 debates are happening on April 16 and 17 at the Valle Verde campus for the 2 other races. We're also in the midst of our student government elections. Student leaders come and go, and that's just the way it is. But our message is always consistent. Today, it is me that is speaking on behalf of the student body, but in a few months, it will be another student leader. I'm extremely excited to pass on the torch to the next SGA president. Moreover, we met with President Serrata on March 4th for a routine constituency meeting, and he informed us that we were able to come to a compromise on the student travel policy, extending the limit for vehicular travel to reach to Austin, Texas. I am incredibly happy that students are going to be able to travel to out-of-town conferences with lower budgets by using a college-owned vehicle. So as the process nears administrative approval, I'm happy that we were able to come to this compromise. So I would like to sincerely thank President Serrata and administration for listening to the student voice. And lastly, on the topic of college policy, another policy that we feel that is in the best interest of every single member in this college community is the prospect of going smoke-free and tobacco-free. SGA does not want smoking areas, and neither did the several other colleges, hospitals, and restaurants across the nation who are now smoke-free. Smoking areas are a non-starter for us, unless they are temporary, which was something that the last task force agreed upon. If going smoke-free and tobacco-free cannot happen, then there's nothing more to discuss, which is why SGA is calling for the board to deliberate on the smoking policy once and for all at the April Board of Trustees meeting. Either way, our voices will be heard. And that is all from my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
I think we want to point out and congratulate the SGA and their operation of the food pantry. He didn't bring it up, but I think they've done a fantastic job and continue to do a fantastic job, particularly considering that the food pantry is a total voluntary operation. And what I'd like to suggest maybe that we could show our support by each board meeting bringing some contribution to the food pantry and encourage the faculty and staff and others to do likewise.
Great idea.
Could we set up a box in the back, Dr. Serrata, just so every month we can come in and drop our donations?
And maybe a cash box too.
Oh, well,
By the officers.
and you all can pick those items up, correct?
We sure can.
Okay, all right.
So any other input, comments? Well, thank you again for this opportunity to always speak to the board. It is a pleasure, and thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello.
I'd like to begin my remarks tonight by forwarding a thank you from the faculty. I received several emails and comments today saying thank you so much for the 50th anniversary pins that people started receiving this morning. So on behalf of the faculty, thank you very much. Tonight we are sharing our presentation as an update on our efforts to try and raise awareness and support for mental health issues for students. And to do that, I've invited the chair of our exploration committee, Ms. Carrie Van Holt, to speak to you about her committee's progress.
Mr. Haggerty, members of the board, Dr. Serrata, and members of the audience, thank you for having me here today. Like Rebecca said, my name is Carrie Van Hout, and I'm working together with a lot of other very talented people who know a lot more than I do about how to increase mental health awareness at EPCC campuses. Our long-term goal is eventually to have a counseling center at EPCC campuses. But for now, we have a couple short-term goals that we're trying to do with this committee. Our first goal is to demonstrate the need for mental health counseling at our campuses. So we, the committee members, we understand there's a need, and the statistics say it as well. So according to the research, 50% of students at the college level suffer from some kind of mental or emotional issue. At the community college level, that statistic is even higher. It's 77%. That's 3 out of every 4 students here that suffer from a mental or an emotional issue. So we're trying to, what we want to do is survey the students and survey the faculty to replicate that we understand that research, it's here, it's going to be here at our campus as well too. So next week, the survey is going to be going out to the students through SNAP, and all the students will be answering questions about hardships that they experience and how those hardships interfere with their academic performance, and then also the likelihood that they would actually receive counseling services if they were available for them here on campus. We're also going to be surveying the faculty, and the faculty will be answering questions such as how often have students approached them with mental health counseling, or with students that have mental health issues. What kind of trainings would they be interested in? Do they know how to handle it? I think this is important because I still have been doing this, and I'm not sure exactly how to handle it. I've had students come up to me that were suicidal, and I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. I still don't understand the protocol, so I think it's important to address it. Another one of our goals is to investigate the best way to incorporate mental health counseling at EPCC campuses. And so we've done a couple of things. We surveyed a lot of the colleges in the Texas Association of Community Colleges. There's over 50 of them, and we called them and we asked them, how do you handle mental health counseling at your campuses? And the results of that survey were presented during October 2018 Faculty Senate meeting, and that's actually when this mental health committee was created. So we've done that, and then we found an expert, Rita Hernandez. She's the lead counselor at Del Mar Community College in Corpus Christi, Texas, and we're actually bringing her here on Friday, April 12th, and she's going to talk to us about how she did it. So what were some of the barriers she had? How are they funded? How is she handling the liability issue, and things like that. And finally, our final goal is to just increase awareness and educate faculty, staff, administrators, everybody, students about mental health. So we're doing a few things. So first off, the students are working together. They formed a club, and they've formed these peer support groups. We're in the process of getting approval as an official campus club, but they have peer support groups where they have a safe forum to talk to each other and tell each other, share strategies, share counselors, share whatever, just as someone where they can speak about their mental health issues without having anyone to judge them. We're also having a mini conference during Faculty Development Week. So on Wednesday, August 21st, there's going to be a mini conference here at the ASC in the boardroom, and the whole day is going to be devoted towards mental health. So we're bringing in people from the community, from NAMI, the Emergence Health Network, Center Against Family Violence, Family Services of El Paso. We're working with a lot of local mental health professionals to come here and talk about things like OCD and suicide and cyberbullying and depression, anxiety, things like that. And that's what we're doing for now. That's my update. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Big issue.
Yeah. If I could just make a comment really quickly, Chair. I'm glad that you had brought this to light. I mean, I think one of the items, I think a lot of the students that the community college does serve, especially vulnerable to mental health issues. One of the examples that I had provided is I served as an RA, resident advisor at my private university, and there we're living with the students. We were made aware of what they were going through, but what's the unique challenge with the community college is it's a commuter school. So the students come in, they come out. There's not perhaps a lot of relationships that are developed when you do live on campus or attend a university setting. So I very much applaud this idea and the thought process and the time that you're taking to really look into this issue for our students. So thank you very much.
I have a comment, sir. One of the things that we have in the community that's working very effectively in the area of mental health is the Project Vida. I think Dr. Serrata was going to follow up with them to see. When I spoke to the director, he was very willing to open up a center here if we can find the facility or, the offices. So they've done a tremendous work in the school district at Socorro, so I think that we can reach out to them. They have some very, very good track record already and some new grant monies. Thank you for the work you do.
Item 1.8, communications, none. Item 1.9, Board of Trustee business. Item 1.9.1, the Board of Trustees will deliberate on naming a vice chair of the Board of Trustees until the Board of Trustees election on May 4th, 2019.
I make a motion that Dr. Graham take that position following the procedure that we did when they made me chair. She's been here the second longest, so I think Dr. Graham would be excellent as vice chair.
Second.
Any questions?
Any questions? Any comments?
No.
Mr.
Question.
Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Nahara.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 1.9.2, the Board of Trustees will consider and deliberate on renaming the Valle Verde Veterans Resource Center in honor of Charisma James, former EPCC student.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second?
Before we take the vote, for the members of the public, can we have some more information of Ms. James and who she was and why we're moving towards this step and really bestowing this honor on Ms. James? I think it's worth letting the public know.
Ms.
I think-
Sanchez, I see that Ms. Jones is walking to the podium. There's no one more qualified than Ms. Jones to represent and speak to what Charisma James did at the institution and what she meant to student government, among others. So Ms. Jones, and I know that President Mena is also there.
And also my assistant director of the Veterans Resource Center. Charisma James was formerly a student at El Paso Community College and started out within our Student Government Association. She was within our association for 2 years and was very instrumental in us establishing the Veterans Resource Center. She served us on the committee in the development of the center, as well as the design and picking out the furniture and so forth. And she was there when we had the grand opening of the center as well. She also did NPR spots, on the TV station. She was in our nursing program, or wanted to start a nursing program here and then transferred later out to Texas Tech to complete her degree. She was a mom of two, worked very hard and was worked really hard to create memories for her two children. Unfortunately, she was killed in an accident in a parking lot in the elementary school. While she was here, she also served as a campus rep at our Northwest campus. And while at the Northwest campus, she enlightened the students over there about the different issues that veterans that had on their campuses. She was also responsible for bringing some of the veteran services to the Northwest campus when she found out that they had to come to Valle Verde to receive services here. And so our Veterans Affairs office went out to all the different campuses to serve our veterans there and not requiring all veterans to come here to our main campuses. And
She
was a very
herself
good
was a
friend.
veteran, 2 tours.
She was a veteran, 2 tours over in Iraq. Had some injuries when she came back, but was very determined as to that she wanted to complete her education and become a nurse, and which she did. Unfortunately, she was a nurse. She got her nursing degree in June, I believe it was, and then lost her life shortly thereafter. But, trying to improve her quality of life was one of the main things that she wanted to do for herself and her children. And she served in the military for 8 years, and was a very proud veteran. Okay. And I don't know if anybody else wants to add anything else to that. Okay.
Wasn't the accident while she was protecting
The
little
accident
kids?
occurred basically,
It was in the parking lot of a school.
it was in the parking lot of the elementary school where her children went to school. And as she was picking up her children, an individual pulled out of another parking space extremely fast and hit her and her children. Well, hit her and she went down. She got up and she threw her kids out of the way, and then he put it in reverse and came back and hit her again. And that second hit is what took her life. And I'm very emotional because I have very deep relationships with many of my students, and then once they graduate, with many of them I become personal friends, and she was one of the ones that I became a very personal friend with. And I literally had brunch with her 11 hours before her death. And I was a grandmother to her children and things like that. So it's very difficult for me to always talk about her, but she was a wonderful woman.
Ms. Jones, will you be able to get a large picture and frame it and place it in the center with her name and
My
maybe a little
plan-
bit of her story on it?
The plan is to entitle it the Charisma James Veterans Resource Center. I've gotten some ideas from different places that I've gone as to how I would like for it to look. I will have a plaque there and then a brief story about her. I would like to dedicate it on Veterans Day, where I would like to have a proclamation made for her family to fly into town, and for us to do her some really good justice. I'm also looking at doing the day of her death. I want to change that date, the day, and I want to have a 5K run that day to change the dynamics of that day, so it's not focused as a day of something that's a horrible day. I want it to be something that's much more memorable than just the day of her death.
So, SGA unanimously voted to rename the VRC in the name of Charisma James. Charisma James is the epitome of an effective SGA member, and it's a no-brainer for us to rename it in her name. So we strongly hope you consider allowing this change to happen, and that's pretty much it for me.
Additionally, SGA was very good at allowing us to create the $25,000 endowment for her. And we know that in order to give out scholarships from endowment, it takes time for that interest to grow. So they've also created a $1,000 scholarship in her name that will also be given out every year. So I want to thank SGA for that too.
I had the pleasure of knowing Charisma for a short amount of time, but I feel like I knew her longer. We had gone to a conference, and that's when I officially met her. I had heard about her a lot through Ms. Jones. And I met her and her children, and I could still hear her voice. You know, the passion that she had for her job. And I do remember that she mentioned something to Ms. Jones about how they actually commended her for assisting one of the patients at the hospital. And I do recall Ms. Jones telling her, "Oh, you feel good about yourself, right?" And she said yes. And she was a genuine person. Like I said, I only knew her very little, but I feel like I had known her more because I had heard a lot about her. And she was there through the grand opening of the Veterans Resource Center. She was actually there cutting the ribbon. So there is a picture on that, and that's one of the memories that I have of her as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Call the vote.
We have a motion and a second. Call a question, Pam. Thank you all very much.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Nahara?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Item 1.9.3, the Board of Trustees will consider it on the approval of a revised election order, which includes changes in the early voting and election day voting locations for the Board of Trustees election to be held on May 4th, 2019.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any questions?
I will make one note. One of the items that was removed was mobile voting, so there will be no mobile voting locations during the May 4th election. That was removed by the county, not by us.
Call a question?
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Nahara?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Item 1.10, Board Reports. Item 1.10.1, Treasurer's Report, February 28, 2019. No action is necessary. Item 1.10.2, President's Report. Item 1.10.2.1, Dr. Serrata will update the Board of Trustees and audience on recent events that have transpired at the college.
Chair Haggerty, members of the board, this past week at the annual conference of the National Council for Marketing and Public Relations, the El Paso Community College Annual Report was recognized as one of the top 3 annual reports in the nation, receiving a Bronze Paragon Award. Congratulations to Laura Lee Ambriz and Carrie Moe for the excellent work on that report. The month of April is Community College Month and will be celebrated throughout the month with employee recognition luncheons, town hall events, Operation College Bound that we're already working on this week at area high schools that will continue through the month of April, as well as activities for the 50th anniversary. As part of the 50th anniversary celebration, I'd like to invite the board and the public to join us for a community open house on Saturday, April the 6th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Valle Verde campus. There will be fun for all ages featuring Campus Life's Creative Kitty Corner, Spring Arts Festival activities, and informational booths for our faculty showcasing programs and opportunities for students, along with on-site registration. Every event's a registration event, Dr. Graham. We hope to see you there. Another way the college is celebrating the 50th anniversary, you may have noticed already, those of you that have traveled on Airway, you'll see banners on Airway in the community. The public display also celebrates our partnership with UTEP, who congratulates the college for 50 years of success, quality, and service to our community. You'll notice here at the ASC, we have those banners up on the light poles as well. So kudos to Carrie and the marketing team for doing a great job, Mr. Heine and all the rest of the team. The legislative session is in full. They have stopped submitting bills. Judge Haggerty, you know this process well, given Representative Haggerty's 20 years there. They are now, today they were hearing the budget. They were having their amendments to the budget today. It is a banner, no pun intended, it is a banner year for public schools in K through 12, where they're adding anywhere from $7 to $9 billion of resources to the public school system. I'm happy to report to date, community colleges are in the black. Not all community colleges, but as a sector, our institution is in the black. I'm happy to report that. Not as much as I'd like it to be, but it's continuing to move forward. We're continuing to monitor House Bill and Senate Bill 2, which takes the rollback rate on taxes from the current 8% down to 2.5%. Obviously, several entities are concerned with that. We are as well. Again, this board has only raised taxes 4 times in the last 14 years. It's not that we raise taxes often, but when we have to, we'd like the flexibility to utilize what's in place now. But we will continue to monitor the legislative session, significant bills on dual credit, on advisement, on the core curriculum. We will make sure that the board continues to be informed of where we are, and we will continue to advocate and inform our delegation as well as the rest of the legislators in Austin. And that concludes my report, Chair Haggerty.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Go ahead.
Item 1.11, consent docket. This includes items 3.2 and 8.1.
Have a motion?
Move to approve?
Second.
Any questions? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Ms. Nájera,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 2.0, administration, none. Item 3.1, full-time institutionally funded actions.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Ms. Nájera,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 3.3, information items, no action is required. Item 4.1, consideration and deliberation on the approval of a contract with Soto Enterprises Incorporated, doing business as Miracle Delivery Armored Service for armored transport services in the amount not to exceed $17,500 per year.
Move to approve 4.1 and 5.1.
Can I ask a question? on
We need
this
a
one?
second.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Do we have a second to that motion?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read 5.1, and then I want to entertain
Item
questions.
5.1, consideration and deliberation on the approval of a contract award to M&G Pest Control for district-wide pest control services in the amount not to exceed $133,100 based on a 5-year estimated cost.
Any questions?
I have a question on item 4.1. So for 4.1, I was noticing in the backup, and I don't know if anybody's here to speak on this particular item or contract, Ms. Shaughnessy. I noticed in the proposal, I'm looking at page 81, towards the bottom there, where it asked whether there was any legal complaints filed against the state. Respondent should provide their name and contact information for the coordination of services. Respondent should include with their proposal response evidence of current and applicable permits. That, and then of course, there's 3 others below that, which respondent did not include in their proposal. And so I wanted to know why that wasn't included. Did we already have that on file, or what was going on with that?
I'd like to call Mr. Gallardo to respond to that, please.
So I can't speak for the vendor, but the vendor is here, the offerer is here, and I'd like to ask him to address your questions.
And then with that, before we go to the vendor, if those items had not been provided in the proposal, was that still cleared with staff so that it could move through the process? And if so, why was that?
The scoring was done, and by the way, I should state that I was not in the room when it was scored.
Okay.
But the scoring was done based on the totality of everything that was submitted and including the previous history with the district. This particular vendor has been doing business with the district since, I believe, 1991. So everything was taken into consideration when it was scored.
But not including the items that were
Correct.
missing from the proposal?
Correct. Yes, ma'am. May I ask the vendor to address
Yes.
the particular questions? Mr. Soto, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Ed Soto. I'm CEO of Soto Enterprises, DBA Miracle Delivery Armored Service. We've been in business for 43 years. We've had the pleasure and honor of doing your account since 1991, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Just the question that I asked earlier, there were several pieces of documents that were not included in the proposal.
We're not excluded?
They were not included.
Included.
Yes, sir.
And I couldn't quite tell which ones you were referring to. Can you repeat?
Sure, there were several. It had responded should state whether it has any legal complaints filed against it, or state none as if applicable. If so, describe in detail the circumstances and outcome of the proceedings. And then following that was, respondent should provide in its proposal response the name and contact info of a point of contact for the coordination of services as needed by individual identified should be able to provide a full range of customer service. Respondent should include with their proposal response evidence of current and applicable permits, licenses, and registrations for this type of business to function. Next one, respondent should include with their proposal response a description of their process for the investigation of monetary or delivery discrepancies. Following that, respondent should include with their proposal response a sample of the intended invoice documents, and after that, respondent should describe what separates it from other organizations performing the same service. And it was noted here that it was not found in the proposal.
Okay, so we could not be licensed in the state of Texas. We're licensed by the Texas Department of Public Safety. In our license, we cannot own a license in the state of Texas if we had any of these issues outstanding. And so that's the big answer. It's really non-applicable because there are none. We would not be in business if there were, period. No conversation about it.
Okay.
And if you need me, you made that statement pretty long, and I got out of the third grade, and I thought I was doing really good, so I'm lucky I remember what you're asking.
Well, it was included as part of the proposal package, and so we just want to make
No,
sure
but
that that's
bear in mind that
included.
we could not be in business in the state of Texas.
Thank you.
And we're in business in the state of Texas and New Mexico, and you cannot hold a license in this capacity if the state has an issue with you. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Yes. I don't know if this question is for you or Mr. Gallardo. My concern is here's a liability dollar amount for lost damage of shipment per location for Soto Enterprises is only $50,000, where Transamerica is $1 million. I mean, is there a...
Potatoes.
That's
So
a
we-
huge potato.
Yeah. So
I'm like-
let me tell you what it is. So it's $50,000 per deposit per location, as you stated your requirements were. So that starts right there. So we are covering you for exactly what you asked for, number one. Number two, in the aggregate, each one of our trucks in its contents is insured for 10 million, not 1 million. So there's a difference.
Where is that reflected on the proposal?
On the insurance certificate in the bid package.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
And no, we do not give out samples. Thank you very much.
That was my next question.
No more questions? Call a question.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
No.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Nájera?
No.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 6.1, consideration and deliberation on the acceptance of an amendment to the grant award for the College Readiness and Success Model, CRSM 2018, for 60 by 30 Texas from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board in the amount of $309,200.
Move to approve?
Second. Any questions?
I do have a question, sir. I guess this would be for Mr. Smith. What systems are there in place to ensure successful completion?
That's a great question, Dr. Graham, and I'm going to answer it in just a second, but if you could grant me a moment of privilege, I'd like to recognize those that are working on the grant that are in attendance today. Dr. Paula Mitchell, Mr. Blaine Primizic, one of our deans, Lucia Rodriguez, and Bob Elliott. If they could stand and be recognized, please. So I could talk to you about House Bill 2223 for a very long time. It's the co-requisite model grant or legislation. The grant from the coordinating board helps us to meet the guidelines of the increasing percentage of developmental ed that needs to be paired with a college level course. And as you see here, this year it's 25%. Next year it's 50%. The year after it's 75%. The deans and I meet every other week. This is a standing item on the leadership agenda. We evaluate the current status of this every time we meet.
But you do have systems in place to ensure that it's happening?
Yes, ma'am.
That we're not going to go through the year and then, oops, it didn't happen?
At least that's the plan, absolutely. We're working very closely with our student services partners to make sure that the registration is as seamless as possible for the student experience as well. And our IT and IR departments are tracking the percentage of students that are in co-rec models.
And do we have some kind of replicability, so that if the money is not available later, those systems are still in place?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was something that was really nice to have to help us support and do some faculty development and training and build systems at the institution to make sure that this happens. But we would have done it without the money available as well. So this is just an additional nice to have ability to train faculty, train registration and admissions folks to make sure that we're meeting the co-rec metrics.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Nájera?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Item 6.2, consideration and deliberation on the acceptance of an additional grant award from the Texas Workforce Commission in the amount of $76,158.
Move to approve?
Second.
I do have a question. Dr. Serrata, could we get in the near future, a full report of all the apprenticeships that we have at EPCC and the value of them, who they are with?
We can, Dr. Graham. We'll provide that to the Board of Trustees at the April meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
No.
Call the question.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Nájera?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Item 7.0, student services, none. Item 9.0, unfinished business.
We have a motion? That's it?
we going into executive?
Okay, before we go into executive, can we pull back up item 5.1? We had taken those items together, and so the vote was no from me, but it was only intended for item 4.1. So I'd want 5.1 read again.
Okay.
And take a vote.
Sure. Give me one second.
Can we just correct your vote instead of taking it over again, or would you like to redo
If we
that?
can, I would ask that it be reopened again, and that we take a vote again separately on that item, because it was read together with item 4.1.
Does there have to be a motion to reconsider first?
Motion to reconsider. Item
Se-
5.1.
Second. Any questions? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Nahara?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye. Can you read the motion again there, Pam, so we can take another vote?
Item 5.1, consideration and deliberation on the approval of a contract award to M&G Pest Control for district-wide pest control services in the amount not to exceed $133,100 based on a 5-year estimated cost.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any questions? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Nahara?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Would the board like to recess into executive session?
Mm-hmm.
The Board
What's
of
the-
Trustees,
I was going to ask the date of the next meeting.
date of the next board meeting is Wednesday, April the 24th. I have a facilities and finance at 4 o'clock and the regular board meeting at 5:30.
Before you call the board into executive session, one item, it was right in front of me, and I failed to recognize it in front of everyone. This is the 4th year in a row that El Paso Community College is on the cover of Hispanic Outlook. Today, El Paso Community College helps students achieve their dreams, ranked #1. Today's community college is independent, and so this is the top community colleges for Hispanics in the nation. It is the 14th year in a row that the college is recognized as first in the nation, and the 4th year in a row that we are featured on the cover. Kudos to Carrie Moe, Jim Heine, and all of the marketing staff. A great picture of 3 of our graduates, 3 of our students in the architecture building. So well done. Kudos to her.
Okay, Pam.
And kudos to the entire staff that's getting us on the cover page.
Absolutely.
Board of Trustees go into a closed or executive session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for one or more of the following reasons: consultation with its attorneys to seek or receive legal advice or consultation regarding pending or contemplated litigation or for any purpose authorized by law, discussion about the value or transfer of real property, discussion about a prospective gift or donation, consideration of specific personnel matters, discussion about security personnel or devices, or discussion of certain economic development matters. The board may also announce that it will go into executive session on any item listed on this agenda if the subject matter is permitted for a closed session by provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Any vote regarding these items shall be taken in open session.